Partners, this week we're saluting a writer. His name was Francis Church. He was on the staff of the New York Sun in the 1870s. The Civil War was recently over. Many of the editorials that Church was asked to write were pretty critty. The nation was trying to put itself back together after the bloody battles between North and South. Church was a great writer. He wrote in short sentences and expressed strong points of view. But here, all these decades later, only one of Frank Church's editorials is remembered. It was strong and concise like his other writings, but it stands alone as the one major city editorial that gets repeated year after year. You see, one day someone wrote to the newspaper with a very important question. It does not concern the Civil War or anything to do with the government, but in some ways and many have been the most important question ever sent into the newspaper. You see, Church had been a war correspondent during the time that saw great suffering and a corresponding lack of hope and faith in much of society. It was used to dealing with gritty issues. But this editorial had something different too. Friends say that Church mulled over the incoming letter. What the paper was asked was incredible in significance. Church could not afford to use the wrong words or give the wrong impression in his reply to the person who sent in the request. He sat down at his typewriter and thought. The thought was there a long time. Then in one of those great American magic moments, Frank Church began to type. He wrote, "Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. It exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist. And you know that they abound and give your life its highest beauty and joy. Alas, how dreary would be the world if there were no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished." End quote. Yes, partners, the letter that was received at the New York Sun asked the simple question, is there a Santa Claus? The answer from the gritty war correspondent Frank Church will be remembered forever. By the way, Virginia, who wrote the letter, lived until 1971. She was 81 when she died. 2 years before her death, her friends took her from the nursing home where she lived to a big department store. At Christmas time, she had her photograph taken with Santa. What a story. Thanks to my writer and researcher, Dennis Daly, for telling us about something we all know about, but something we know very little about. So I'll see you next week. Until then, you know the drill. Find that big old red X at the top and click it, and you'll be magically transported back to the report page. I love you guys. Go get 'em, Tigers.